I'm your host, Veronique Mandel, and a big welcome to our 100th show here on Scribes and Songsters. You've just watched a montage of some of the guests who've appeared on our show during our last 8 seasons. And to celebrate our 100th episode, we're doing something a little bit special. To begin, I'm introducing you to people who produce our show. Producer Brian Sweet and technical producer and editor Gary Glass. And together, the three of us are going to take a look back over our past 8 seasons. So, welcome to life on this side of the camera, Brian and Gary.
Thanks.
So, I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself, and then I'll get the guys to tell us about them. So my background started with the theater. I went to nursing and midwifery, then broadcasting in radio and television, then writing for newspapers and magazines. And for the past number of years, I've been working in post-secondary education as a professor and coordinator of the media programs at St. Clair College at the Mediaplex. I've authored 4 books, written a musical and children's books, and, plan to write more, but and hopefully get more involved in film. So one might say I have career ADD. So what about you guys?
Well, I've retired now, but I spent 35 years of practicing law, primarily in Essex County. And I've been involved in many things, but 2 of my primary interests have been writing and songwriting. And in terms of writing, I've published 1 novel and 4 children's books. And I hosted a writing club, a writing group for a number of years, and organized a number of writing workshops. And I've written and recorded a number of songs. And it was really that writing interest that brought me together with the 2 of you to help create this show, Scribes and Songsters.
And we're really delighted that you did, Brian. What about you, Gary?
Well, I'm not so versatile as you guys, but I'm a lifelong resident of Kingsville. Less 1 year when I moved to Leamington, and then I moved back. I worked full-time for an aerospace company in the Windsor area for just about 42 years. So we're getting to the end of that. And we've been doing video in our studio here, video and music productions. I've probably done nearly 300 half-hour episodes for Kojiko Your TV for various shows, Dale's Friday Coffee House, and some part of the Coffee House Sessions, and Scribes and Songsters. And that's pretty much it.
You're a pretty techie guy.
I like gadgets.
Yeah, which is really lucky for us. Now, we all got into this for pretty similar reasons. Brian, sort of, tell people how we got started.
Well, the primary purpose of the show is to feature the local talent, the local writers and songwriters of Essex County, because, both you and I are authors, and we know how difficult it is.
Very. Once
you've written your book. You put so much work into writing it and then getting it published. And then once you do that, you get your box of books and you're so happy, and it's such a terrific feeling. But then you have to market it and you have to get it out there to everybody. And that's so difficult. And we've been through that. And right now, there's many ways to do that. And we wanted to help the local writers and songwriters. Whether you're a writer or a songwriter, it's the same thing. It's so difficult to, get your work out there. And right now there are many ways. There's many magazines, local magazines, and local newspapers and things that do that. And, our television show, and we also put it on YouTube, these episodes. We wanted to offer one more way to help local writers and songwriters to get their work out there, and also to let the people of Essex County know how much great talent there is right here in the county.
I'm always astounded by, how many talented people there are and the quality of their books. You can have an endless list. Sort of what attracted you to meeting up for the two of us?
Well, Brian approached me, but I don't know. I enjoy doing this kind of stuff, and to some extent, it's kind of like community service. And I always feel you should try and give back, especially for the arts. The arts have a hard time. Music and the Scribes and the Songsters part of it. People, especially COVID and post-COVID, it's very difficult for some of these people to certainly make a living, but even to make extra money to enjoy their craft.
And we've heard some pretty sort of sad stories about how difficult it was for some of the writers and the musicians because they couldn't work. And we've had a lot of fun.
It's been a real treat to have the writers in. And we've had well-known writers in from Essex County, but we've also had many, many first-time authors.
Yes.
And it's just great to know all of them. And it's been a lot of fun getting to know all of them. And so it's been a real treat for us, too, to do this show.
Yeah, it sure has. And we've taken the show on the road. It's not just been in the studio.
Yeah, road shows are a challenge, but they're interesting because you get to meet different people and you get to see, where they make their livelihoods potentially in the stores. And we went to Book Fest. We've gone to several different locations where, the quality of the video, I think we still kept it pretty good, considering location-wise, it's sometimes difficult sound especially. But yeah, I think we've, covered pretty much a fair amount of Essex County.
Yeah, it certainly is difficult, especially for Gary, when he leaves the studio to get the good quality lighting and things. But we've been to River Books and Biblioasis and Storyteller Books on Ottawa Street and Gertrude's Writing Room in Willestead Park. And we've been to a lot of places, and it helps promote them too.
Yes.
Because River Books in Amherstburg. So it's been good to help them too, to help promote that. That's also part of it.
And they're very supportive of local writers.
Oh, they are. That's another good thing for the local talent, to have that kind of support in our area, necessary support. And we've had publishers on the show, too. We've had Marty Gervais, both as a writer and a publisher on. And we had Dan Wells from Biblioasis on. And, Grant Monroe from Woodbridge Farms. Now, he's a small publisher, but he was on. But it's interesting to hear their take on it. And, it's good for the writers to hear from a publisher's point of view. We also had Palimpsest Press on. And it's good to look back at those shows. That was another thing about doing this 100th show. It gave us a chance because we're always preparing for the next show. So it gave us a chance to look back at those shows and see that. Because, it also helped me see that, in doing those shows, we've really covered, for instance, in the books, all the genres we've covered. Because we've covered, and the writers in Essex County and Windsor have covered every genre. With fiction and nonfiction. Sci-fi, romance.
Horror. I even had to get into horror.
Romance.
Yes.
How to deal with grieving. Really, sports. We've had every genre, and in terms of music too, the music we've had all various kinds of music. So the talent isn't just focused in one area. It covers every area. So it's really been a great experience for us too, to do this show.
Yeah, I must say, I know that the show is, me sitting down and talking to someone, but because of that variety of writers and musicians, I mean, every show you get excited because you're going to get something different.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's really great. So listen, we've been talking about taking a look back. Is there one author stands out for you?
Well, it's very difficult to do that for all of us.
I know.
We talked about this. And, well, I must say, when we talked about the different things, certainly one that we all talked about that we liked was local history.
Oh, yeah.
We talked about it when we've had numerous authors come in here about local history, and that was something that we all really enjoy. Really enjoy. And I don't want to start naming all. We've had 4 or 5 or 6 different authors on local history that were all terrific. I don't want to start naming them because then you leave some of them out.
Yes, I know, and I hate that.
But that's been a treat for us, for all of us. But the one author that I would like to highlight is Richard Petty, who appeared in our, actually, season 8 this season. And the reason I would like to highlight him goes back to my own personal thing that I mentioned. As I worked as a lawyer, I worked in the town of Leamington. And he wrote a book called Great Small Towns of Ontario. Mm-hmm. And in that book, he went around and he visited all the towns of Ontario, a number of small towns of Ontario. And he talked about which towns he thought were really good and what made them good. And he did that to, show other towns of things that they could do or think about just to improve them. And as working in considered a small town for so many years, it really hit home for me because I worked on those issues for 28 years. Yeah. And, I thought that was really good. And that's a book that I have recommended to some of people I know who are still politicians and have recommended to them that they go and meet with Richard Petty and talk to him. Not that he has solutions for them, but he talks about ways to think about things. And I think that's what's important about the book. And so that's the one I would like to highlight. And I guess we have
We're going to show a little clip of him. Here it is.
Well, I talk about a concept in my book called third places. First place is where you live. Second place is where you work. And third place is where you go to engage. And it's an accepting, inviting place and people are drawn. And often that's a coffee shop. You have a lovely coffee shop here I quite like. Mm-hmm. And, or it's a bar or it's a library. And, but independent bookstores done the right way can really be that. And I had read about that theory about third place as I was opening the bookstore. It's a concept coming out of the sociologists in the 1980s. And I said, you know what, we're going to be a third place. So from the moment we started at third place, and we've done well over 200 events. And all but about 6 of them were free. And it was just, on every topic, climate change, Black Lives Matter, LGBTQT, Save Streets. We covered all of that. And to be a third place.
I think that really gives people an idea of that sort of passion he has.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah. What about you, Gary?
Well, Brian mentioned the history, and we had talked earlier. I changed my mind about who I want.
Oh, yeah?
Who I, felt was one to stand out for me. Because I love history, was especially local, kind of like history you can still kind of see and touch potentially, And so Chris Carter, he's written all these kind of tour books of the area, ghost towns of, Essex County, and Olinda is like one of his favorite subjects, and how it was a mining community. And the thing is, I kind of know Olinda a little bit because I had friends when I was a kid. My parents had friends who lived right there. And I went to the Olinda store when it was still there. And, I remember the school and all that stuff. So
I nostalgia.
I think, he had his tour books. If you pick up one of his tour books, and you can actually follow them and go through the streets, find locations and maybe even some relics because there's still plenty around. So I think, the history stuff really gets to me, so I really like that.
All right, we're going to see a clip of
We're going to see a
Chris.
clip of Chris.
All right, and here's Chris.
There's a place just down the road here in Kingsville. There's a church in the middle of a cornfield. Why is that there? That doesn't make sense. Is it New California? Doesn't make sense. Well, it did at the time because if you go around the corner, there was a schoolhouse. And of course, probably a general store. I don't believe there was ever a post office in that community, but that's the place where the farmers would come and congregate. They'd come to the church. They could go a couple miles to get to their church, but they couldn't go much further because one of the time and transportation, but also they couldn't leave their farms too long.
Right.
So we have all these little places. I never count. So I got 50 some places in there.
I really loved listening to his descriptions of, all these places because I'm not from here. It really.
Well, that's the thing too, is that there's been so many people moving into the area that don't know the history. Facebook, somebody puts up a picture of the Mettawa station or Mettawa's the hotel, and people go, "Oh, where was that? Where was that?" And it's really, it's like time to rediscover the area for a lot of people.
So mine, and you can imagine, I could have, like you guys, I could have chosen almost every single person, but I thought that, the person who started the show with us, our very first guest, Nino Ricci. He was so charming, and he has always been committed to helping writers, young writers, and even established writers. And he is such a good writer himself. And so at the time of on our first episode, he was the writer in residence at the University of Windsor, and so I asked him, what was his goal during his time as a writer in residence. Here's what he had to say. What was your goal coming into the writer in residence? Did you sort of feel, well, at the end of my time, I want to find someone who's going to be writing the next great Canadian novel?
Well, you do hope to find that writer who hasn't known how good they are and push them forward. And that does happen. It's happened a number of times that people have come through my door with no idea how much talent they had. And it's nice to be able to tell them that and encourage them onwards. But people come with a variety of needs or desires. Not everyone wants to write the great Canadian novel.
Yeah. And he was having a lot of fun.
Yes.
And so it was really delightful, to hear about some of the work he was doing. So now we talked about the writers of all things non-musical. How about on the music side?
Oh, well, again, just like we said with writers, it's so difficult. But the one that I would like to highlight is Martha Reno. Now, Martha, she appears in the credits of every one of our show because we picked one of her songs as our theme song. But she is absolutely a fantastic artist. She should be famous. I don't know why she didn't have the right agent or didn't get the break, whatever. But we have a clip from her from season 3, episode 6, and her song is Sunny Day.
And here she is.
Just what I need, gonna fill me up, gonna find my way as I take a walk on this sunny day. Sunny day, sunny day, sunny day. Well, as I breathe, a mist surrounds me, rising softly through the trees. Crisp and clean, the air revives me, with its breath of peace. Sun is waning, I walk on the path that opens up, and I spin around. I catch my breath as I look at this cathedral rising from the forest floor, filled up with an awe. My heart is open wide. Sun is on my face, I feel me smile inside. For this gift I've unwrapped as I make my way down these snowy paths on this sunny day. La 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, on this sunny day. On this sunny day.
She really is talented, and I agree. You know, sometimes you think, why isn't that person famous? Because their music is so good.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
There's been a few on our show.
Yes.
My pick would be a fellow who I think now resides in Harrow, Max Marshall. And he was on season 3, episode 1. And he does, I guess they call it finger picking.
Mm-hmm.
And when he plays, you'd swear there's at least 2 guitars going. And it's just phenomenal. Plus he sings, he writes, really good, I'm not sure if I guess it's folk to some extent, but he has a more of a jazzy feel to it. And we had him, like I said, on an episode fairly early, season 3, and he provided a video that he had done, and so we'll take a little look at that.
All right.
Off we go to Nova Scotia, where we plan on getting rich. We'll hit the course and drop our pitch, rob that jackpot money pit. When we pay ourselves on surface, once we finished up the gig, find my perfect hidden moment, I'll push my partners in the pit. And down we go, deeper than the rest, or I lay upon my treasure's chest. But hunger lends itself to murder, filling up your lungs with water. I don't care for stone or timber, or those ancient Spanish scissors. Bore me out some golden bread, I'll never work a day again. Yeah, I fell down to the bottom of the well, or I laid upon those skeletons' hands. I swear I'll give the gold away just to live another day.
Oh, wow. Wouldn't you wish to be able to do that?
Finger picking is just crazy.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
I find it hard enough strumming. Okay, I had to go with Leave Those Kids Alone.
Yes, right.
And didn't we
They were
just
terrific.
love those kids? So they opened our 6th season, but they debuted on our show during our 5th season. And they made quite a splash. And we got almost 40,000 views because of their performance
It's
on the
significant
show. Yeah.
number of views.
And so in between their being with us in season 5 and then season 6, they toured in the U.S., going to at least 3 states. They played 60 gigs, another 10 events. I mean, they never stopped. And they're such charming young people. Addie, I've got to tell you their names. Addie is on the drums. Just one of the most talented young women on the drums that at least I've ever seen. Alex, who's on lead guitar. Louis, Now, Alex, I think, is on lead guitar now, but at the time when they were here with us, they also had a lead singer, Timothy. But then Timothy left to pursue his own career, and Louis on keyboards and Luca on bass, and of course their manager is Jean-Paul Bonadonna, and I mean together. They make some pretty good music. And we were interviewing them especially because they had also written an album and had 7 of their own songs on it. And so the one I thought I chose, now which one? I had a bunch written down, Where She Was. Let's listen. I had to bring this along. This is a list of where they're performing over the next months.
Wow.
Yeah. And I mean, they're all in high school. And so, I mean, there's no slowing down with them. They're really quite something. Now, of course, it's not just about us, because we wouldn't be here if we didn't have some pretty special people
That's right.
helping us be here. Well, that was the first half of our show. In the second half of this 100th show, you're going to meet some very special people, our sponsors.